an all-round designer who founded his own company, Depot, Roel Vandebeek. Please welcome Roel Vandebeek.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, you can see immediately the title, The Resolving Power of Design. First of all, I want to welcome you, of course. I like the city of Genk for a couple of reasons. One of them is because I studied 5 years in Genk, industrial design. The school is here outside, MAD faculty, media, art, and design. And I do a lot of things for the town or the city Genk, so we have a good connection there. But I want to talk to you not about Genk, or sometimes I will talk about Genk as an example of collaboration. So first of all, I sometimes start with this image. It's actually it's a submarine I draw when I was 8 years old. And there's a lot of failing things in this picture also, but that's nice to see that it's a combination of design in the eyes of a child. And it's also, there's a lot of connection, there's a lot of machinery, there's a lot of things going on, chemistry and dynamic image, a bit artistic. So that's why I want to show you as a start this picture. And I believe a lot of things sit, what you can see in this picture is a lot of things I'm actually doing at the moment, right now. So I told that I studied industrial design in Genk, and then I worked for 1 year for a company, but I noticed that it wasn't my thing. It was I had not enough freedom to develop my talent, and that's why I decided to found my own studio in 1996, the end of 1996. And when I was overviewing the things I've done the last 18 years, I was, in these 18 years, that's my career until now, I'm always searching things, because my field, my working field is actually between art and applied art. And I got the idea for this lecture of trying to solve problems by using design is for me the thing I was looking forward to explain to you guys, because this is an interesting title to explain the things I do. And let's start with the categories I work in. So we have industrial design, custom-made design, and installation or art. These are the fields I'm working on, approximately 30% each. And I have 2 examples for each category. The first one is industrial design. First example is just to show you what this problem-solving thing through design means to me and what it can do, because it's a powerful tool, I think. Design a collection of street furniture to promote social contact. Yeah. So this was given by the company who makes street furniture. Just this sentence. This is my answer. It was in 2006. Because you can impossibly put 2 benches against each other and wait until the social contact increase. That's why I make the connection between people, but not in a direct way. So it's an answer to, I think it's an answer to the question I just mentioned. And of course, this is a color that's, for the picture, is very nice. In the common way, it's natural wood with galvanized metal. But it gives you an idea of the power of design, although it speaks to me that way. Second example I want to show you is transcending the ordinary sock. It's actually a company of Genk, and this was the briefing. Now, how did I start on this one? I noticed that when I get up in the morning, it's not always easy, especially with black socks, to put them on in the right way. So that's why I invented a line. We call it one-liner. And one-liner makes your life a bit more easier. Because when you're putting your socks on, it's easy to correct your movement, and that's why they fit like they should fit. Also, the children are very happy, at least my children, because they had to put them on for a couple of weeks to test. And you know, who has children, there's always a problem with putting on socks, the heel is in front, or the other way around, of course, but there is always some problem. And now we are solving that with one-liner. That's my answer. It's also interesting when it comes out of the laundry. You have several type of socks that you can pair them or combine them. So that's also for the one who does the laundry interesting. So that was the first category. Now we're coming to the next category, and it's the custom made. I'm also very interested to work in that area. You can see the brief here was to create a new lighting object. There was an old former town hall, and there was a very interesting atmosphere and nice materials. This is the building. It's from 1954, and the idea was in the entrance hall to design a new lamp. This is a project which comes later in my presentation back. Then we can talk a bit more about it. But this is my answer to that problem. But it's a problem in a positive way. This is a brass pendant. It's very nice shape because of the flexible brass. And the color and the tactility, these are very important things for me to communicate with the history of the building. I'll come back on that later. Now, a second briefing I have in the category custom made is designing a pedestal for a small work of art in a spacious lobby of the library. And actually it is the library here in Genk, so when you have time, or people who went there will recognize it, but when you have time it's always interesting to walk in a library. This is the library. You can see it's a huge building, and when you're going inside you have a very big lobby. Now, what did I do? The work of art of Ado Hamelrijk, that was the artist, is a big book with, let's say, 100 of pages in a calligraphic way designed or drawn in a calligraphic way. So each month or each week I can take a new page and communicate with the visitor. But when you put this book on a pedestal in iron, let's say, or in wood, it wouldn't be powerful enough because it's a rather small piece of art in a big library. So that's why I used the ground floor as a pedestal, because that's the only way you can communicate this piece of art with the visitors. And now when people are coming in, they can choose. They can watch this piece of art or they can ignore it. But always they have to walk across that crutch because it's integrated in the whole building. I think that's very important. That's something I learned because my wife is an architect. I learned to look at things in a space and not only as an object. And that's how I got the idea to communicate this artwork in a bigger way than we used to normally do and just put put in a small pedestal. As you can see, when you are coming in like this person, you have to walk around it, but you have some communication going on there. You can also see this is one piece of natural stone. And this natural stone is finished in 3 ways, as you can see. And the way of the finish is the most intensive and the biggest part. It's polished there. So you can, with one material, 3 different finishes. So the last part I want to present is the art part of the briefing. What sort of briefing do I get there? Because that's something totally different, of course. And the first one is a square, or I have to design a piece of art for a square in a little town, Heendonk. It's part of the town Willebroek. But very important, it has to be in collaboration with the inhabitants of that small town. So this is the square. As you can see, it's tiny. And the idea was the town Willebroek had asked the people in Willebroek, Heendonk and other towns to choose 5 interesting places to work with art. Interesting places, not because they are lovely, but because they were very ugly or not interesting to look at. And they want to give new action through, or to give it a new implementation through art. So it has to be a piece of art. That was those were the rules. Because they choose one of the 5 projects was Heendonk, and I was appointed as the artist to do the job. Of course, there's difficult because the inhabitants were not so art-minded, but it has to be art. So I had to choose between. I had to make a solution that would convince the inhabitants and the town of Heendonk. So this was the place we're talking about. You see a lot of religious buildings, and my idea was, okay, I want to give an answer to these against or with collaboration with these religious buildings. So I want to have a chapel in a modern way. So I was looking for the idea of how can I translate this modern chapel. Also, I have to tell you that the inhabitants asked for a kiosk. That was their idea. But a kiosk is not a piece of art, so we couldn't make it. So they were a bit angry. But I think, and that's the most important part, that I had a solution in mind. And this actually are some sketches I made. Normally I don't show it to other people, but it's interesting to see how the idea came alive. And this is actually what it's going to be. So in front you see this new chapel, and like this. It's about 6.5 meters high, so it's like a small building. And at the back it's opening up to the square and to the people. And with a little bit of imagination, you can see a kiosk in it. So I made everybody happy. Here are some technical drawings. And this is how it's going to be when it's finished. Yeah, actually working on it now. And you can see there, here, is the piece of art standing. So this is how it should look like in communication, as already mentioned, with these religion buildings. And this is the situation last week. So everything is there except the piece of art, but it's going to be there within 2-3 months. The second part and second thing about art example was 2 years ago, manifested 2012, and the idea was the communication about mining history, and I got the idea of displacement as an interesting theme to work on. So when I was looking for more information, I came to this picture, and you can imagine people coming from Italy, Turkey or Greece coming here about 56 years ago or more, and there was nothing here, they don't know the language, so this displacement was a huge thing, and also emotionally. That's why I designed this, created this suitcase, and this suitcase is also has a journey within, because when you arrive with this suitcase, it's only a small suitcase what's left. So because of the emotions and the new place you're arriving to, this displacement is actually a symbol of displacement for me. Yeah. Now, the last part, or the second part of my presentation, is that I'm going to show you how we work, because now we had 3 categories with 2 examples each. But I'm also founder of the Dépôt des Arts, and it's a multidisciplinary company. That's why we can work on big assignments, and we use each competence to do that and to make a good team. And these 3 categories can also be put in one project. And that's why I'm coming back to the building of 1954, already mentioned, this former city hall. And this is what we did there. We put in service design, architecture, interior, product design, and also art integration. And these things, these 3 categories are in this presentation, in this project. Here it is again. This is the plan. We worked on everything, and in the back there is a new building connected with the former one or the old one. So you see here this is old and this is all new. And what I did was, first of all, look what are precious elements and shapes and materials in the building. And here you see the lamp. We saw it before, but not in this context. Here you see it in the context, and I think it gives a chemistry between the old part of the building and this new lamp. It doesn't look like very new, but that's just the case for me. We have a lot of respect and this brass material. I made some other things in brass. As you can see, we make a new how do you call it? A plate actually, and it's bent over the marble as a second skin. Well, we can easily put it against it, but we don't do it. We respect it. You can see also this lamp in a larger version. It's the most important place. It's one of the most important because there's a lot of marble used, and it's very big and strong. And I see a lot. I like the combination of the new lamp here. But what we also do is we make some problems we have. When we see the problems like passages, this part is inside and that was outside, but we made a new roof on it. But these passages, making this and this, these are constructive elements which are useful to solve a lot of problems. You can also see the frames here and there. Here's standing glass in it, so we make a constructive thing, and that's the way we want to solve a lot of problems with architecture and space. You can see here. And the last part, I also made a bench because I like the idea of, it's very solid, but I like the idea of a hinge made in leather. So it does have some movement in it. As you can see, there are products in all sorts of different ways. This one is, I see it like this, is specially designed for this occasion. This is a closet, and you can see with the colored elements, you can organize and recognize the closets you want to put in something. So it's very interesting to see where that you can put your things because of the color, and then you know by heart where your books or your information lies. See, like this. And this is the last part. This was how we met it in the first time, and we translated to a conference room. But what is especially about it is that didn't only design the table, but these structures of this construction of iron were so there was a lot of space involved. And this construction, I give it a second life. It isn't only construction, but if you can see, it's also this thin brass I used. And now this is also an installation, become an installation. So I also solved the problem of the construction that was so big. As you can see on top. It's there, but it's also gone, so it's between those two things. And so that was that.
Thank you, Roel Vandebeek. You can leave the mic for the next speaker.